Hello gamers, and welcome back to another episode of Solospelunking Vacation Edition. And before we start today, I want to get two important things out of the way. So the first thing is, I hope all of you had a very nice and relaxing couple of Easter holidays, and you found some time to unwind and relax a little and maybe get some gaming in. And second of all, I would really like to extend a very warm and heartfelt welcome to all of my new subscribers, because over the last 7 days or so, I got over 50 new subscribers to my channel. And I think this is really great, and I'm really excited by this. So all of you new to the channel, thank you for joining and welcome. And yeah, I hope you stay a while and enjoy my content. And yeah, I'm actually very happy that if you have a small channel like I do, you also can interact with the community. So I'm really happy about comments. So yeah, feel free to comment, and I'll do my best to get back to you. And stay a while, and thank you for joining. So yes, once again, welcome all of my new subscribers. I am really happy about that, and you're very welcome here in this channel or on this channel. So what do I want to do today? Since I'm on vacation still, I can't do an actual play like I would do it back home in my gaming den for several reasons. One being that I don't really have the right setup, and second, that I also can't assure that I have enough free time set aside in one piece to do like an actual play and set it all up. But of course I'm still playing. I'm playing yeah, basically like I do play behind the scenes if I'm not playing on YouTube, because like I said, and what I tried also to show in my how to start solo role-playing tutorial using Dungeons and Dragons, that sometimes if you watch these YouTube videos, they can be a little bit misleading, because usually the guys playing on YouTube, and that is not me, these are other guys with larger channels. They have like really elaborate setups, they use a lot of miniatures and maps, and they have like tons of supplements. So you might think, actually I would try to get into solo gaming, but I still need this and that stuff. So this video I am doing today, yeah, the intention is to show you that even without all this stuff, you can have very enjoyable and very meaningful solo sessions with just a minimal setup, and that playing in front of a YouTube camera is actually, at least in my experience, completely different than playing without one. It's not better or worse. I mean, I really do enjoy doing these actual plays, because like I said, they actually motivate me to get all the stuff I've accumulated out of the years onto the table and go this extra step that I probably wouldn't do if I'm playing just for me, for myself. But the sessions, they're not less valid. So what do I want to do today? I did play a playtest session of this ultra light rule set I came up with called Lighthearted, that incorporates the Daggerheart task resolution mechanic, and I played an adventure with it. And so today this is sort of like a playtest and session recap. I want to go through my notes with you, through my journal, so that you basically can take part in the adventure, sort of like a read actual play report that you normally would either then as a write-up post on Reddit or a blog or something, but now I'm going to read it to you, so it'll be an actual play report, not an actual gameplay video. And I will give you my verdict on the system I came up with at the end of the video. And So this is the first thing, but the other thing is that you might get a deeper idea of or understanding how you could solo play and incorporate the journaling basically into your play. So this ties into the previous video on journaling that I did. So this is somewhat also an actual play report, but also maybe like a very, very light tutorial for people starting out with solo RPGing to get an insight behind the scenes view, how solo playing might actually look like on your kitchen table when you don't have a camera set up. Because if I play by myself, it's usually a very quiet setup actually, or a very quiet affair. I actually don't talk a lot. So this is basically the setup. I got my journal in front of me, I got my dice tray, I got some maps, I got a character sheet, I got some dice, and then I just imagine a scene and I write it down, and then I resolve any game, task, resolution rolls, whatever, and then I proceed with the next scene or event, and so play proceeds, and in my mind it all forms a nice coherent picture. So this is actually my private setup, if you will, and you're getting a behind the scenes exclusive sneak peek into how I do things when I'm all by myself on the kitchen table. So my character sheet, I don't have it here right now because of unfortunate circumstances that happened in the game, but you can read all about the system in the video where I introduced also my travel gaming kit. So I made a character, and I also created a hex map, this one here, that I created using the rules in the Untamed Wilds game, and this is just a standard high fantasy D&D type fantasy world, so I didn't really flesh it out in detail. I basically just created this map for these vacation games here, and this is where the stuff will take place. And I made a character, a scoundrel, rogue type. His name is Rio, and we were starting out here in this city of Delmar on the map. So what I will do now, I will just read my journal entries, like the session report, and I will give you some, if you will, designer notes or designer commentary on certain paragraphs, what I did there and how I resolved things, so that you also get an inside view of how I play. Alright, so without further ado, let's start. My travels have brought me into the large metropolis of Delmar. And you can see this right here on the map. And this is a river that flows through the city. The gateway to the Untamed Wilds to the east. I'm overwhelmed by the sheer size of the city. It is a huge sprawling complex of temples, warehouses, markets, taverns, inns, and whatever you can think of. And here I rolled with percentile dice for the size of the city, and I rolled a 91. So this is why I came up with this idea that it is a huge medieval sprawling metropolis, and I tried to basically set the scene here in these paragraphs. A constant stream of travelers and merchants pours into and out of the city. Caravans prepare for the dangerous journey to the dwarven city of Kargosh or the city of Milrar to the north. So here these dotted lines are trade roads, and because this city, I wrote this up randomly, is nestled within mountain terrain, I came up with the idea that this is actually a dwarven city. And this is the city of Milrar that is nestled here within these hills. And and this is basically a river flowing through the land. So you can see these arrows here point in the direction of the stream flow, and these dotted lines, these are trade roads. All right, to the Then I just put down head for tavern, no encounter. So I'm also using, and I got this as a PDF with me, my solo RPG framework, just to give this a little structure. So when I'm changing locations in town, I just roll for a random event. And I also kept loose track of the time here. So I find my way to the nearest tavern to get an ale and a warm stew. While I'm eating my stew, I focus on overhearing some conversations. However, it is just too loud to make out any details. So here, actually, I wanted to roll on the rumor table. So I set the target number for this perception check, if you will, to 10. And I failed, but I generated 1 resolve. So I documented this roll. So I interpreted this as it is just too loud. And then I rolled for a tavern encounter by the rules of the framework. And it resulted in no encounter. And I kept loosely track of the time. So it is 4 p.m. in the afternoon. So I want to take part in some gambling and keep my eyes open. So here I asked Mythic, the Oracle, if there's some gambling opportunities that present themselves. And I think I set the odds at standard 50-50, and I got an exceptional yes as a result. So how did I interpret this? Well, you will see. What a coincidence. As the thought crossed my mind, a big card game tournament that will start tonight at 2000 hours, 8 p.m. is announced. Alright, so this exceptional yes means there will be a tournament. I want to enter and walk up and speak to the announcer. And then the question for me was, do I actually have enough money to enter? Starting money, because I'm a starting character and I usually start out with like 10 gold pieces. So again, I rolled on Mythic. Yes, it is only 5 gold pieces. Alright, I pay my fee and I am in. And then I think I rolled with 3d6 how many total participants are in the tournament, but then I rounded up slightly so that it could evenly divide it by 2 for this elimination round system. So I came up with a total of 16 people are in the tournament. And then everybody had to pay 5 gold, so 80 gold pieces to win. That was the prize money. Alright, then I made this little round table. Like I said, it was a single elimination round. So during the first round, all 16 participants participated. And then, of course, in the second round, we would have only 8. In the third round, only 4. And then the last round would be the finale. And I just set target numbers, 10, 11, 12, and 15. And I had to pass these checks using my... here I used my insight tag or skill, because it features like intuition, reading your opponent, bluffing. Like, this is not purely luck, it's also strategy. It's like a poker game. So, and I was lucky, I succeeded. But here this means with despair. So I generated despair. So that means in the last round I had to roll with not with disadvantage because it cancelled. I used the resolve to gain advantage. But I also used, or had to use by my solo GM rules, to despair to impose disadvantage. So I had to make a normal roll and reach 15, which was not too easy. But you can see here I succeeded with a critical success, 9 + 9. So I wanted to flesh this out a little, and this is how it continues. I win my way into the final round of the tournament. So far it was very intense, but this final match is something else. The entire tavern crowd gathers around our table. You could cut through the air. The tension is high. It comes down to the last hand. With an iron stare and a streak of good fortune, I win the tournament and the prize money of 80 gold pieces. So this entire scene basically was just me sitting here rolling the dice and writing some paragraphs into my journal, but still in my mind it formed a very vivid, a very lively tavern card game tournament scene. So for me this was enough. Then I checked if my opponent was male or female, and I usually do this by just rolling a die, and an even number is always female and an odd number is always male, no matter what die. So here I had a male opponent, no trouble, because usually when I do like these gambling things, there might be a slight chance that the guy or girl that I was winning against is not happy, and that this might cause some trouble in the aftermath, like I'm excused of cheating, or they try to rob me of my prize money or whatever. So I made the appropriate checks, but here it was all good. It was a male opponent, but he didn't give me any trouble, or was not supposed to give me any trouble. And I figured one round lasted 1 hour. The tournament started at 8, so it ends at midnight, 2400 hours. Alright, and so I won the prize money. I give 10 gold pieces to the tavern keeper to buy rounds for everyone. Ask about a nice and clean inn to stay at, and head over there without incident. So in this short paragraph I summarized. So here I made another encounter check because I changed location from this tavern to an inn, because this tavern didn't have rooms for rent, but the encounter check came up negative, so without incident. Alright, I get a room for the night and the following night with a nice meal, bath and clothes washing included. So I also like to detail these little downtime luxuries that my characters usually treat themselves to. So I pay 6 gold pieces, 3 gold pieces a night, which is somewhat expensive if you go by D&D standards, for this entire wellness package, if you will. So I have a nice long sleep. So here, this is why I always leave a blank line, just in case I need to add stuff. Here I forgot the time, so I woke up at 10, because it was late. I take a bath in the morning, a shave, and I have my clothes cleaned. After a nice meal, I head out into the city at 1400 hours 2 p.m. and take a stroll. So I took my time to spend this time in the inn. And now it's time to get into adventure. So I check the bulletin board for quests. And here I rolled up quests from my framework. And I came up with these quests. I don't want to get into too much detail here, but just show you one thing. I also rolled up this quest number 62, where a sorcerer's tower was discovered. So I rolled the random hex 0706, and I decided that this is an OOC info, so this was not posted on the board. So I here put down OOC info, not on quest board, might be discovered through rumors or hired personally. And it was a male sorcerer, and his name is Melarok. And what I did here, I color-coded important things. And I also already added this tower, so this is supposed to be a T in this structure, to this hex. So I basically also add to the map as I play with things that are not going to change. So this wizard tower is now here, but my character doesn't know about it, and important things, so that it's easier to reference, I color code with colored pencil. And so my favorite color is green, just in case you haven't noticed. So it's all green here. But I decided to take the Goblin Market quest, so I go on. One notice catches my interest. The town guard needs assistance dealing with a goblin problem in the city. For further details, I should see the guard captain. And also, this is just for me to add a little flavor, to help me imagine the scene. I mean, you could also just really shorten and summarize this. I mean, you got the quest description in the framework if you use it, so you could just put down, or okay, I take the Goblin Market quest and head to the guard captain or whatever. But I liked to add a little detail. So at 2:30, I arrive at the town guard headquarters and ask to see the captain for details about the offered quest. So, and then I decided to flesh out this quest a little and maybe alter it a little from the description in the framework. So, the captain fills me in on the details. A band of goblins have snuck their way into the city, Rumor is they are hiding in the sewers underneath the old warehouse district at the riverside. They prey on citizens walking the streets at night, break into houses and steal valuables. The guard does not have the numbers to patrol every district. If I can find this goblin lair, lead a squad of guards down there, and maybe even return some of the valuables, I am offered 150 gold pieces. So this ties in nicely with the size of the city that I had determined, because then it makes sense that the guard actually is stretched too thin to patrol this huge city and every district. So they occasionally have to hire outside help. I'm interested, but negotiate for more money. Again, a check, target number 12, success with despair. The captain offers 30 gold pieces more, 108 gold pieces total. I agree and promise to look into the matter. And here what I usually do is, like, for every point above the target number, I set like an amount, like I think here it was like 10 gold pieces, that I can increase the payout. Alright, 1500 hours, 3 p.m. I head back towards my inn to make plans for the night. And then I rolled again on the framework encounter table. So I rolled if an encounter occurs, and yes it did, and I think it was encounter number 3, and that was this little boy that was crying because, or girl that lost his parents, or her parents. So in this case it was a boy. So the desperate crying of a little boy catches my attention. So this is just me now interacting with the random encounter. I walk up to him and talk to him, trying to calm him down and ask what is wrong. The boy, then again I color code names, Lars, explains that he has lost his parents. They went out last night when he went to bed, but they didn't return. So this here, again, I usually do this. I do not do direct speech when I'm journaling, only in rare occasions if I want to set a certain specific tone. Usually I just summarize it. All right. So, and then again, the difference, if I would play maybe like with an audience on YouTube now with an actual play, like on my gaming den, I would actually do this in character as the boy. So this is the difference between me playing on or off camera. And then what I usually do, if I talk to NPCs, I make a list of yes/no questions that I then answer with mythic. So I asked the boy, are his parents wealthy? And yes, that was the case. Does he know where they wanted to go? And I assigned very high odds here because this is very likely yes. Because this is, I figured, what they usually do. They take him to bed and then they say, all right, we go out for a drink. Don't worry, we'll be back. And of course he knows where they wanted to go. So then I asked, in this district near the town guard HQ? No. And then I assumed it was then in the neighboring merchants district. They wanted to visit a high-class tavern, fine wine. They go there often to meet merchant friends. So it's just the parents going out in the evening for a nice cup of wine, and it's nothing unusual, but this time obviously they didn't return. So this is basically all this, what I asked the boy, but I asked mythic basically. Alright, so then I give 10 gold pieces to the boy so that he can buy some food in the immediate future and accompany him to the guard so that he can make a statement and file a report. I tell him that I will also see what I can do. So I'm a scoundrel or rogue with a heart of gold, of course. Usually my background is usually also a street urchin, so I give him some money that I earned from my card game. And then I decided that this might tie into the quest. So maybe the parents, maybe they were abducted by the goblins. So then we continue. I ask him to describe the way to the tavern from his home that his parents were likely to take. And then of course he does. So it is 4 p.m., 1600 hours. I walk the way the boy described to me, looking for details or hints. So maybe signs of a struggle, ripped off shirt, whatever, blood stains. But I set a rather high target number. It was 15. And I had to roll with disadvantage because of despair. So I had to spend despair that was accumulated up to this point. And I failed with a 12 with despair. So I just wrote down, I failed to notice anything. And then at 1700 hours, and here I forgot to color code it, I arrive at the fine wine. And I color code it now, so if I flip through it, I immediately know where this takes place. Alright, so it was a female barkeeper. I diced for that, just made up a description, red hair, green eyes, and then crowd 19% means I usually roll percentile dice to see how crowded a place is. And it came up 19%, so not very crowded, so only a fifth of the tables are basically occupied. So I just write down, at this hour the tavern is almost empty. I walk up to the bar, order a fine cup of wine, because this is what you do there, and start to make some small talk. And here I rolled again, I think with my silver-tongued rogue or whatever, if I'm basically appealing to the barkeeper, if she's interested in talking to me. However, I failed with one resolve, but it was barely a fail, 11 of 12, so I interpreted this as she seems interested, but also busy. Prepares the bar for the evening, not really time to chat. So here again, no direct speech, but in my mind I imagined this dialogue like something like you wouldn't, like she goes like, listen buddy, I really would like to chat, but I got a tavern to run here, the evening crowd is coming in, let me finish here and we can talk later, basically. So this was what I imagined. Alright, so I stay a while, I wait until she has finished and order another cup. So here I had to subtract 6 gold pieces for 2 fine cups of wine, 3 gold pieces each, so not that cheap. I then try to talk to her again and ask about the boy's parents. And then again, my method of doing these mythic questions as what I ask the character, with odds. So does she know them? And I signed very likely odds because I figured they're regulars that go there often. So yes, she does know them. Were they here last night? 50-50. So the reason behind that was to see did they actually make it there, or maybe something happened on the way. So it's just 50-50 and it came out yes. So they were at the fine wine. When did they leave? I just made this up at around 10 p.m. And now, and here, this is the beautiful thing about mythic. Did she hear or see anything unusual? And I put this at an unlikely because I figured she is busy with the bar and it is loud and she didn't really pay attention. So it was unlikely. But I got a 0-1, an exceptional yes. So I and here I figured a little bit of direct speech would be in order. So she says, yeah, I heard something. A thud, followed by a scream. Sounded pretty close. More yelling. Sounded like a struggle. Came from the side alley. I grabbed my club and decided, and checked. Sorry, can't read my own language. I grabbed my writing. I grabbed my club and checked, but I saw nothing as I got there. Reported it to the night watch and went about my business. So she got out of her way here even to help, but this is what this good thing is about this exceptional yes result with 0-1. So you could interpret this as a more extensive effort. Alright, so then it continues. I thank her and make my way into the side alley, looking for signs of a struggle and possible clues and witnesses. And here I set a target number of 13, insightful I used, and I got a critical success, 10 plus 10 plus 4, because I rolled with advantage, critical success. But and this is what I also determined when I was playing the Daggerheart adventure, I also said whenever I roll doubles on the task resolution roll, a random event occurs. So here I put plus RE, which stands for random event, and I rolled this on the scene unfolding machine. And it came out: observe, watch, monitor, depart, withdraw. And I wanted to get some more context, so I wrote adjectives, chaotic and messy. And I interpreted this, you will see, but in my mind the interpretation formed that a goblin is observing this alley as a lookout, as a scout, from within a pile of trash or refuge. So this is what this means, and then he will basically withdraw, so sneak away to report on his observations. And then what did I actually find? My findings, and I also wrote this up: insanity and crazy. And the first cliche thing that came to my mind was this crazed beggar that no one believes, but he basically sees everything, and so I encountered him. So this is how this continues. While I look through the alleyway, I am addressed by a homeless, filthy-looking beggar with a crazed look in his eyes. He mumbled, and then I figured a little bit of direct speech would be in order, just to set this scene, this atmosphere. "You are too late. They took them. The green ones took them and brought them to their keep. You will never find them." Okay, so and then this is where I described this interpretation of this random event. So I put here random event. So this is OOC information. So I'm still using the eye perspective, but this is OOC information. I am observed out of the shadows of another alley. A goblin scout is hiding in a pile of filth and trash. He observes the area and my conversation with the beggar. And then I asked if I spot him. But I set a very high target number because I was not actively looking and he was hiding. So I set the target number at 18, and obviously I failed. I didn't also add anything because it was like a passive check, if you will. I failed with resolve. So then I continue. I talk to the beggar and try to get some more info out of him. He directs me toward the side alley. I slip him a coin and head for the alley, and it is 6:30 in the evening as I do that. So I arrived at 1700 hours at the fine wine, so now this all took an hour and a half, so I eyeball usually the time. And then I asked if I'm attacked by the goblin from the alley in an ambush, because he observed me and I gave it 50-50 odds. However, 55, no, but also if you roll doubles on Mythic, a random event, and this I rolled on the Mythic table, mundane setback. So this mundane setback, what immediately came to my mind, also a classic fantasy trope when you see these people like in movies or just empty their buckets on the street. So the following happens. As I enter the alley, someone dumps a bucket full of piss and sewage, excuse my language, out of the window. Unfortunately, while I was passing underneath, I stink of piss and shit and have to focus to not throw up. So this is the mundane setback. Nothing really serious, but it ends the night for me. This is it. I call it a night. The parents and goblins will have to wait. I return to my inn without incident, again rolling on the framework encounter chance. I pay again for a bath and cleaning service, another 2 gold pieces. And then the next morning 9 a.m. I return to the alley from last night to look for clues. I also wander around the old warehouse district to get a lay of the land and make note of the entrances to the sewer system. And then again I set a target number for the alleyway if I find anything, and the target number is not too low, 15, because time passed, so I rolled a failure with resolve. And I interpreted this: whatever clues I might have found last night, they are gone now because some time passed. So, and then I rolled for the warehouse district, and I gave it a target number of 12 to just notice anything special, get a lay of the land, etc. So I rolled a 13, success plus resolve. I get a pretty good understanding of the layout and the network of allies in the warehouse district. this might be useful. Maybe if you later roll or have a chase scene, you could say, all right, so I did this previously. I scouted out the area. I got a good good imagination or a good understanding of the layout, so I might get an advantage or bonus. I also identify 3 not so obvious entrances into the sewer system. And it is now midday, 12 p.m. I return to the inn, and here I figured it is time to give it a name. It's the Traveler's Respite, and pay for 2 more nights, 4 gold pieces. I then go to my room and rest and relax until late evening, because I know I wanted to go out at night. I then head over to the warehouse district. I take my pack with me, my adventurer's pack. So now you also see why I do basically journal, and or this journaling is actually not separated from the gameplay. This is my gameplay, and this is what keeps my thoughts into the story, focused on the events. And so for me, this is not a burden. It's just a natural process, or it has become a natural process. So 2100 hours, I arrive in the warehouse district. I hide and keep one of the entrances I identified in view. So one of these 3 not so obvious entrances. So I figured maybe the goblins, they come out there. And I wait. So then I assign 50-50 odds. If any goblins come out, exceptional no. I lie in wait until midnight, so for 3 hours, but nothing happens. So I leave my hideout and head for one of the other entrances. However, on my way over there, I am harassed by a small group, in parentheses 3, of street thugs. And this is again a random encounter that just came out of the framework. So I made an encounter check, rolled up those street thugs. They surround me in a triangle formation and demand a toll. So the classic. I want to avoid a fight and offer them 6 gold pieces, so 2 per person. And now I ask Mythic if they accept, and I say it is very unlikely, because I figured they are 3-1, and if they see I got money, they might figure there's more money where this came from. So of course they wouldn't just go about their business. So it was very unlikely, and as expected, it was a no answer. But then again, since I'm also like a street guy and I got all these silver-tongued rogue skills, I wanted to give myself a chance to talk my way out, but I set a very high target number of 20, and I decided to use a resolve. And here it says what I used. I used Silver-Tongued Scoundrel. However, I succeeded with 1 resolve. So always give yourself a chance to fail, but also to succeed. So I interpreted this. The situation is intense, but I managed to talk my way out of it. They leave. So I didn't go into too much detail here, because it was just a random event. It cost some dice rolls. It was nice and tense, but that's all the time I'm going to spend on this, because I'm in a quest right now. So I make my way to the other entrance and again go into hiding. And then do I spot any goblins there? And then I set some higher odds, because I wanted to tilt the scales in my favor, because I figured they got to go out and in some place, and they didn't use the other exit, so maybe this exit. But still no. I wait another 2 hours. It is 2 a.m. but nothing happens. I call it a night and head back to my inn. No encounter. Alright, then I arrive at the inn at 2:30. I sleep until 9 o'clock, get up, eat, have 1 more night paid for. So this is just a reminder for me that I can stay 1 more night. And then I decided it's time for a dungeon crawl. So I take an active approach now. So I head back into the warehouse district and I enter the sewer system. And this is where the framework again comes in. So I randomly determined the number of rooms. It's 8 rooms. And here, but I didn't roll on the room tables because I knew it is a sewer system. So the rooms were basically just chambers where in the middle you would have the sewage flow through, and to the right or left, just like think Indiana Jones when they were in Venice. So you could, like on the right or left, you could walk on a narrow walkway, and in the middle the sewage flows, and then you would have these distribution chambers where several arms of the sewer system basically intersect. And then I will show you the map that I created. Just 1 second here. And the rooms, where is it? Here. So here, then I got out an empty sheet, and this is, gotta hold it like this, the warehouse district sewers, and I put down 8 rooms, so I knew it, and I started with room number 1, and then just used the framework and to basically determine the exits. So I figured it'd all be 1 or 2 exits, and then I proceeded from there. And so what I also did, I figured 8 rooms. So in every room I rolled a d8, and if I rolled equal to or less than the number of already explored rooms, I would find something quest related. So this is how I determined when or if I find something quest related. And as you can see here, it already happened in the 3rd room. So because this is why I didn't expand further, because this is also not a dungeon you want to explore. I mean, these are sewers. It smells, it stinks, and it's dirty, and there's probably not much valuables to be found. But we will continue. So I lower myself into the room here again. Good that I leave a blank. I forgot to the number. So room number 1 below. 2 canals with sewage water and waste water flow out of this chamber. The sewage flows into the chamber through a grated hole in the northern wall. So just described it a little. As I drop into the chamber, I spot a goblin standing guard at the entry to the canal leading south. It sees me and wants to run down the canal. So I determined this is a lookout, a scout, and I randomly determined with a D2 which passageway, and yeah, so he wanted to alert his companions. So then we rolled initiative, or no, we didn't roll. I drew cards. I got playing cards here with me. So I'm not sure if oh yeah, that was me, 2 + 8, because I got 2 cards, because I'm a lonely hero. I used this army of 1 rule from Dragonbane versus 9, so I got to go before. And just simple stats, he has a defensive score of 12, only 1 hit points, and an attack bonus of +1. So I'm faster. With a quick stride, I closed the distance and pierced the goblin with my rapier. It goes down deadly wounded. I quickly search the body. I find 6 gold pieces, but nothing else of use or value. And this nothing else, I remember I determined with Mythic if I might find like a key or map or something. But or maybe some stolen valuables, but I didn't. So, looks like I'm on the right track. I follow the pathway to the south. Without incident, I reached the 2nd chamber, number 2. And this without incident also is because of the framework. So I rolled, and 1, 2, 3, something happens, and 4, 5, 6, nothing. So 1 would be a random wandering monster, 2, 3, a trap. So no incident. A chamber with 2 canals branching to the east and west. And now we are here. Chamber number 2, 2 canals branching off to the east and west. Then it gets darker, because I move away from the entrance, as I head down the passage, so I ignite a torch. As I enter the chamber, chamber number 2, 2 goblins rush towards me to attack. Then I resolved another combat, summarized it. I'm not quick enough. So in combat, I of course don't write a paragraph for every combat round, and I don't document every move. So combat is just basically me rolling dice or moving pawns around on a map. I don't journal during combat, and then I summarize it with 1 or 2 quick sentences afterwards, depending on how the combat went. So I'm not quick enough to parry or dodge and take a nasty cut, so here I was wounded. However, once I got my bearing, I make quick work of them. So I think they won initiative, and they hit me. I think even some of them, I don't know if he scored a crit, but I was wounded in this combat. Or maybe I directed something into armor, I can't remember anymore. I follow the canal leading east, but not before I search the bodies. I find 4 gold pieces, but nothing more useful. So again, some goblins. And then there was a trap in the corridor. This also came out of the framework. Target number to discover it was 12. So success, but with despair, 11 plus 1, I don't know. Oh, this plus 1, I don't know where this came from, but I passed. The corridor is secured with a crude tripwire bolt trap, which I spot and avoid. I must be on the right track. Again, the corridor widens into a chamber, number 3, and here I put in parentheses quest related because I rolled this with a d8, so I rolled a 3. So this was quest related, and I determined that this is lit and the lair. I think I diced off if it's just quest related, like maybe some sort of a depot, or maybe like where they kept prisoners, or if it is indeed the lair, and it came out that this is the lair. I can see light ahead from out of the corridor, because I figured that they wouldn't sit in the dark. The chamber ahead is lit by torches or braziers, I'm not sure, but I think I saw movement as well. I extinguish my torch and sneak closer in the shadows to get a better look. And then I determined that 1d4 plus 2 goblins are inside. I can see 5 goblins arguing and doing different things. In one corner of the room there's a pile of stuff, possible stolen goods. Also I can see rolled out bedrolls and a fireplace. Seems to be the lair the captain of the guard was talking about. One of the goblins looks tougher and is better armored. He seems to be the leader. Right, so I just made this up, so how I would imagine a goblin lair. But then the quest was, of course, lead a squad of guards down there, so I am not suicidal. So I head back towards the exit. So, of course, I will not take them on by myself, wounded, so I get the guards. Then I had to make a stealth check, fail plus resolve. However, and I interpreted this as that someone comes in. However, as I reach the previous chamber, number 2, a scouting detail of 2 goblins enters from the western passage. They immediately attack. And then we have another combat. So they get the jump on me and manage to wound me. My armor is also in bad shape after a few hits, but I prevail. So here I remember that I directed one serious hit into my armor, so I used up all my armor points. I don't have time to search the corpses and continue to the exit, so I just wanted to get out there quick. Then Wandering Monster, another goblin. Quick work, used resolve. So I just summarized this combat real quick. Obviously I won the initiative, I think even both numbers, and then just one successful attack, and this was it. Alright, it is 1300 hours, 1 p.m. as I exit the sewers. I head for the guard HQ, no encounter, again using the framework. I fill the captain in on the details. He and a squad of 4 guards will join me as I lead them to the lair. So, and then I switch directly to the epic battle, 6 goblins plus the leader. And what I do in these cases, if I travel with NPCs and we fight, I usually have the NPC combat be in the background and I focus on my part. So here I fought the leader and 2 goblins, and I figured the guards, they take care of the other ones. And depending how I fare, this is how I treat how the battle goes. So you will see. So I had to fight the leader and 2 goblins. And the leader, he was well armored. He had an AC or a difficult defensive score of 16, 3 hit points, and an attack bonus of +4. And they also used 2d12. And the other ones, they had the standard goblin stats. So we engage in a fierce melee. I engage the leader and 2 of his minions. The guards engage the other goblins. I strike down 2 minions and wound the leader, but he lands a lucky blow and I go down. I focus on the 1 hit point monsters here because I wanted to reduce the number, obviously, of incoming attacks. So here now the following happened. I was down, but I already wounded the leader, so I scored a hit, and so this is this crossed off hit point here, and I killed 2 of his minions. So now what I do in these cases, if I know I got NPCs with me and I didn't do too bad, I roll percentile dice how the battle goes. So this is like a last chance effort if maybe the NPCs win and they stabilize and revive me. And this is what happens here. So this is how I handle larger battles when I play solo. However, I wake up shortly afterwards. My wounds are patched up, but I am still weak. The guards were victorious. They assist me in leaving. 1 guard escorts me out. The others stay to take inventory of the stuff and settle things. I shall report to HQ the next day for my reward. And then it is 1600 hours as I go to see a healer. For 40 gold pieces, I figure 10 gold pieces per hit point, I lost 5 hit points, I think, and I didn't have much more money, so I was back to 5 of 6 hit points. She patches me up and cleans my wounds and gives me a healing potion. So minus 40 gold pieces plus 4 HP. So, and I was at 5 from 6 HP. I head back to the inn and take a long rest. I wake up fully healed, pack my things because I didn't pay for another night, and head to the guard HQ. I get paid 100 gold pieces as agreed, and it is 10 p.m. And then you can see here that I put down here, I switched to Shadow Dark and created a level 2 duelist. But this will be something for another video. So this was my first quest, my playtest adventure, if you will, using this super simple, lighthearted system. And yeah, now my verdict, why did I switch to Shadow Dark? Because I figured again what I also assumed when I was playing the Daggerheart playtest adventure, that systems that do use a lot of meta currencies are actually not for me. Because even though in theory I really like this mechanic of rolling 2d12 with hope or fear, or in my case resolve and despair, this actually led to that you generate whatever meta gaming resource every task resolution roll. So it's either despair or resolve, and the system, and this is not only my system, also the Daggerheart system actually expects you to make liberal use of these resources as well, to grant advantage to allies, to use your experiences in Daggerheart, in my case my skills, and for various other things. And in my opinion, this takes me too much out of the game into the meta level, if you will, if you want to call it that. And so I figured that this really is not for me, because even though I was playing a super simple system, and this is not the fault of my simple system, because the Daggerheart system uses the same thing. Basically, you're handling some form of meta currency during every turn, roll, or task that you do. And for me, that was too much. So I decided to put this project to the side. I will not pursue this further. Sometimes things sound good in theory, but they're not really working for me in practice. So your mileage may vary. And Shadow Dark is something I had on my radar for a long time, and I wanted to try it out. And I got the quick start set from Drive-Thru-RPG, and I downloaded a few class supplements. So then I switched my character over and to Shadow Dark and did the second adventure using the Shadow Dark rule set. But this is also the beauty of solo RPGing. I mean, you can just switch systems if it strikes your fancy. Nobody is disappointed. You can try out as much or as little as you want. Yeah, so this is it, folks. So this was something different, not really an actual play, but yeah, if you could call it a deep dive into how I play behind the scenes, how I handle things, how my setup looks like. This might also maybe be an encouragement to those of you on the fence and you wonder how to try it out and what do you actually need. You see, and I also talked about this in my live stream, you need very little. So this is usually my small setup, and maybe from the descriptions I read to you, you get an idea of how I do it, and that actually this journaling part is part of the game and keeps me in the story. And because of these short paragraphs, I'm invested in it, and I got a really good picture in my mind of what is going on. So these sessions, they're not less valid or less enjoyable as if you play with a large assortment of minis and terrain and whatnot. So this is, I think, a good closing statement. So I thank you all for watching, and again, welcome to all my new subscribers. Hopefully you got something out of this video, and I'll talk to you soon. As always, stay safe and stay healthy. Until next time, bye-bye.